Historian Victor Davis Hanson says Democrats are heading into a 1980 Carter-esque blowout, and the party's descending into a full left-wing meltdown. Democrats have been left powerless over what VDH says is the escalating dementia of Joe Biden and the terror instilled by the specter of either a president or continued Vice President Harris. The left fears all it did to destroy democracy, the raids, arrests, the gag orders, might boomerang on them. The collapse of hoaxes like Russia collusion, the laptop, 2 impeachments, and 5 criminal trials have left the Democrats in a state of hysteria, disguised by their deranged fantasies.
You said recently that you thought that you, as an outspoken critic, could be a target yourself. Some people think that sounds overdramatic, but I'm right there with you. I think that he is so vindictive. How seriously should we be taking that?
Well, so I was asked, am I worried about me? And my answer was, I'm worried about all of us. I'm no more worried about me than I am worried about everybody in the country.
And the more the Democrats pander with student loan bailouts, executive amnesty, and cannabis, the more obvious, repugnant, and counterproductive it becomes. But that's not all you're going to see until Election Day. Are you ready? Democrats are entering what VDH calls a proverbial cycle of denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. The stages of grief. Stage 1, denial. Democrats are going to tell you everything you see isn't true. It's the cheap fake hoax.
Cheap fake clips went viral on social media and were picked up by some news outlets. Take a look at this clip, for example. It shows Biden and other world leaders watching a skydiving demonstration before the president is seen walking away and looking in another direction. Outlets claimed that he was sort of just aimlessly wandering away.
This is the network that forged documents to beat Bush and covered up the laptop to beat Trump. Did CBS see Biden last night struggling to get inside of a car? We didn't alter that video in any way. And just breaking, Biden just launched a cheap fake task force to coordinate with other social media platforms and fight election misinformation. Nothing threatening about that at all. So don't believe your eyes and ears, and don't believe what you feel either.
CBS News polling recently found that 62% of Americans are in favor of a national program to deport all undocumented immigrants, all 11 million of them. So how much support do you think there would be for the White House plan that was announced today?
I'd love to sit down with your polling team and show them how they've gotten this wrong.
62% of Americans are wrong. Not a winning strategy. And if Trump's gaining with black voters, the polls must be racist.
And so like 90 some odd black people, that's not enough black people to poll whether they are, like McDonald's. Like that's just not enough people in a sample to say, 23% historic. These voters despise Trump. When you actually poll and ask a significant number, they don't like him. Despite the gold shoes, weirdly enough, and being a criminal.
Right. Despite the gold shoes, but despite the 34 counts, beside the sort of rappers who danced around him, who he's probably paying off one way or another. You remember those old commercials? You wouldn't go to a burger place for fried chicken, right? You wouldn't go to a Chinese food restaurant for pizza. Why would you go to polling firms that don't really know much about the black community?
NBC's own polling guru says Trump's black support is often clocking in at levels that would outpace those of all previous Republican nominees in the modern era. When you're in denial, you're not using God's greatest gift, reason, and your emotions take control. Stage 2 is anger. Oftentimes that anger is directed at their fellow Democrats. They become short-tempered and hostile.
I think Democratic culture has too many preachy females. It's too much, don't eat hamburgers, don't watch football, all right, wear condom. Like, man, leave me alone, you okay? I got a life to lead. Guy works at a tire repair shop in suburban Atlanta. Working 50 hours a week, making $16.50 an hour, and he wants to watch the football game. He wants to smoke dope and drink beer, and then everybody's telling him he's slothful, and they reject that.
Stage 3 is bargaining. You realize denying and yelling doesn't get you anywhere. So you cope by making trade-offs.
It's not that I'm 100% happy with President Biden. but he's someone that we can work with, that American people can work with. It's not sexy, not front page news, but it's really important. That's the kind of man he is. If you show him the problem, if you touch his heart, he will act accordingly.
We're going to stay together for the sake of the kids, sleep in separate bedrooms.
You and I, who are, we bleed blue, and the Democrats just are all up right now. My gut poll tells me that if the election was today, Trump would win. And that the Democrats, it's not an issue of panicking. It's an issue of understanding where you are and the problems you have and not whistling past the graveyard. So it's not about being hysterical. It's not about bedwetting, but it's about being a realist and going, we got a problem.
I think bedwetting and nervous Nellies are all called for now. If you're not a bedwetter, you're stupid.
That was stage 4, depression, the most painful of the 5 stages. Be on the lookout for recriminations, loathing, and foul language as reality begins to sink in. And it's not just Carville. A Democrat strategist tells Axios it is unclear to many of us watching from the outside whether the president and his core team realize how dire the situation is right now and whether they even have a plan to fix it. Someone inside of Biden's world said, even for those close to the center, there's a hesitance to raise skepticism or doubt about the current path for fear of being viewed as disloyal. Top Democrats are worrying that this is a losing campaign, focused too much on January 6th, democracy, and Trump's character, instead of real issues that affect voters. When you realize you can't go back, that's when you've reached the final stage of grief, acceptance.
I can't say it enough. I said it many times. I would vote for his head in a jar of blue liquid over Donald Trump. But that doesn't mean that I'm not. First of all, I think it's a moot point at this point. He's gonna lose.
Who, Biden?
Yes.
So the next time you see a Democrat, just know they're grieving. And not everyone grieves the same. They're on a journey now. So don't mock or tease. Be the bigger person. And if you're feeling extra generous, maybe give them a hug. Our next guest is a Silicon Valley tycoon and former Obama Biden